Hey, how's it going? I don't know what kind of sound that was. Hey, how's it going? Please look at my signs. So, it is the day after the U.S. presidential elections of 2024. Just want to get that out there in front. And, I wanted to read you something. Come on. Everything is okay for the moment, or one day, 1 hour, 1 moment at a time to deal with whatever's going on. Or, I should say, however you're feeling. If, like me, the U.S. presidential election didn't play out the way you'd hoped, I wanted to share some thoughts and realizations. About 2 videos ago, I named the channel since this is where I wrote it somewhere. About 2 videos ago, The Temperature of Us on YouTube, I mentioned a remark that the self-described helper from the angelic realm, Cryon, made in a pre-election channeled message. He said, the channel is male, Cryon has no body or gender. Anyway, he said, I don't make election predictions, but I can say that the parties in charge will be too busy battling each other to be effective for the people. I thought, that tracks. You know what else? Popped awake at 1 a.m. and learned the results, which are not to my liking. But I didn't fall off an emotional cliff like I did the first time this happened, because of what Cryon said. At the time I heard it, I thought, shit, that's not super encouraging sounding for a Dem win. Still talking about what Cryon said. So that's not super encouraging for a Dem win. Not the other way around, and it gave me pause. Put a pause on my optimism because I finally learned to trust my misgivings or intuition. The other team losing did not come to mind first, like something that you can be sure of. So, yeah. Where was I? In other words, despite how good it was looking for Team Harris, I was like, oh shit, not again. I'm going to interject here to say something that I didn't actually write in, and that is, it occurred to me, like, you know, there's a certain level or a certain number amongst us that have an awareness of, like, the inconsistencies and the unrealities of life. Like, you know, life is not just, you know, you're gonna do something like by rote, like get up every day and go to work or school, and you have to come home and you have to sleep and you have to eat. Like, we know those things are a given, but we also know that sudden outside forces can be incredibly destructive, either physically or emotionally or whatever else you got. And so if you have this, at least a little bit of an awareness that something is not quite right, or you full on are, you know, of the mindset that, like, we're living in the Matrix, or this isn't real, or even beyond that, that you know that you came here, you knew that you were coming before you came, you set it all up in advance. And when I say all, I mean the whole, everything, enchilada, whatever the thing, for your whole life, before you even arrive. And part of the arrangement is that in almost every case, we don't remember that we did any of that. So, kind of my understanding is once you become aware of that, you start asking yourself, what the heck am I even doing this for? Or what is life all about? Or what am I supposed to be doing here? If you have that sort of stuff going through your mind, then what I'm going to say is going to make sense to you. Don't take it personally when your life really, sorry language monitors, but fucks up, because that shit'll happen. If you already are thinking this way, then you know there's, I was going to say, two realities going on, and that is true, but there's, I think, vastly more than two, possibly an uncountable number more than two. Okay, so back to my little essay here. So the last thing I read was, oh shit, not again, in terms of the election turning out the way it did. And now, some thoughts on that. A long time ago, I began to feel the potential of this loss. And I think I did because I really feel like the oppositional tactics were all wrong on the Dems' part. They seemed to be caught flat-footed and ineffectual at every turn in response to Trump and the right. They tried and failed at responding in kind, and therein lies the problem. They failed to attempt the most devastating tactic that they could employ, in my opinion. Come at them with love, acceptance, and understanding. Forgive them their trespasses and aggressions. That may sound like an ineffective tactic, but I feel like that depends on the rules of engagement. To be truly devastating in response to all of the low vibe activity, I feel like requires something not tried since no one can remember. A different way to respond, not with a sharp or violent or aggressive retort, but with an offer to listen and understand, and by dropping a lot of the anger-shaded words. Let's find ways to face each other with a promise in hand instead of fear or a weapon, or fear of the need for a weapon, or of each other, or what one can take from the other. Let's not. We've been at the same shit the same way for millennia, and are we happy with the loss of life and resentment? Hey, we could be happier. For me, the key is seeing things differently. Some might say, what about serial killers and races coming after you? And I say, yeah, what about it? Just like on election day, but every day, there's a 50-50 chance, there's a chance we might die. Okay, here's what it says. Just like election day, but every day, we might die. There's a 50-50 chance. That's life, and we don't need to fear that. It's inevitable, so why not move on? If life is so precious, why waste time guarding it and living in fear of losing it or some extraneous person or part of it? There is so much fun and love to be had in life, and enjoying it and being open to everyone and everyone else being able to enjoy living life to their highest potential. And then I included a video, which I am also going to tack on to here, that I feel like if you're dealing with this not well, it may help you, if you feel bad, to reassess your priorities and raise your spirits. So, that was kind of spontaneous, and I happened to be on Facebook. Pardon. Yes, I happened to be on Facebook when it came to mind, so I just sort of vomited it out there. Sorry for the terminology, but it was just that sudden, like, whoa. So I had a few more things I just kind of wanted to talk about, and I yesterday deleted my, or was it yesterday? Now I'm so confused now, I never know what day it is. Why am I saying I'm so confused now? I never know what day it is unless I have an appointment. Okay, so yesterday or the day before. Actually, it was the day before yesterday. I deleted my Twitter account, and I deleted it for a number of reasons. The thrill is gone. I wouldn't say met. So many people have approached me, and I try to have an open mind, like, please show me you're gonna be cool first, but that often it does not happen. Like, it always kind of just devolves into something that I don't want to have the conversation anymore with the person. And so that can, if you're looking at this, you've been online, you probably know very well what I mean when people start talking to you, and once you decide to go ahead and engage in the conversation with them, something is said by someone and it goes south. So, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's great and easy for other people, but that is why I am, like, very leery of accepting friend requests anymore, or message requests, or anything. Like, if I don't know you, or you haven't demonstrated that you're not a creep, and you can just be happy talking to me, and you don't need to friend me, because then you can get me alone and DM me and tell me some kind of thing that I do not want to hear. So I'm, like, pretty down on that kind of thing. But you know what? I'm right there if you want to just talk to me. Like, if I posted something that you like or think is funny or is provocative and you want to say something, we both have the technology. If I can see you, like, in the open feed, like, I'm just so, like, every time I decide to let some new person, get me alone in the DM, it just, for one thing, it's never what they say before they want to get you in there. And I'm the all-day sucker. I fall for it not every time. I'm finally like, I'd rather just not talk to people if that's going to happen every time. It's like every time it seemed to be happening. That's just part of it. Part of the reason why I left Twitter. So, or X, whatever the hell. It's you know what I mean. One of the other reasons is that he didn't do it directly, but Elon Musk's brother sent me a message request, and I just was so curious I decided to accept it. And I don't want to go into detail because it seems like all of these platforms are very fraternal, and I shouldn't say all, because I don't know if they all are, but I just feel wary now. Like, I don't want to say anything that might offend anybody on the other platforms, which I still use. So let's just say I was made to feel very uncomfortable and very confused by what the dude wanted, except that I knew for sure to decline. So when I did that, I began to get a certain kind of barrage of message requests mixed in with other ones that I think were actually genuine. But then one of those I answered was like just a person I just didn't care for their demeanor, so I didn't feel friendly. I feel like out in the open, like in real life, like on this side of the screen, where you can't do stuff you can do online, or you don't have the nerve to say stuff that you would say online, you get a more honest conversation. You get to, if it's in person, you get to look the person in the eye. You get to see their reactions. Like, if you are any kind of science of micro expressions, or just, you know how people act because you know them. then you know what you're getting when they're talking to you, when they're responding to you. So you don't get any of that online, and I'm painfully aware of it. And I also attract narcissists like crazy, so I don't know. I've gone through a lot of stages about that. I've gone through the what's wrong with me, or the why me, and now I'm sort of at the same level I am with kind of trying not to take this whole election thing and all of the stuff that sounds so terrible, and I kind of agree that it is, about that 2025 plan. It's it just sounds like it's gonna create a lot of heartache. Nothing's even happened yet, and hearts are already aching. So, but again, like, if that's just something that we're here, it's like Total Recall. If you're familiar with that movie, you go, the star of the movie goes to a resort in the future, and go into a virtual reality program, and it's so real that it's almost indistinguishable from life. And that's kind of like what we got going on here, if you are at that level of thinking about life. So yeah, it's intense. It's like you can die in the dream, but also you can be reborn. So it's like, once you really like on board that idea, and then also the idea that when the life here ends, you go back to your actual life. You go back to your real self, which I'm one of those ones that don't remember much. Little things have been leaking in here and there, so I feel optimistic about that, because the goal here is to figure that out. Like, why am I here, and what am I doing, and what's the best way to operate while you are here, in as much awareness that you have of that, or at least the awareness of, like, you give what you get, so, like, better to be nice than shitty. If ever, if you can possibly maintain that. And that's kind of like what we're faced with right now. Like, we could be scared and, like, spend time living in that particular mode, or we can raise our spirits, have a higher vibration, be in a completely other mode or dimension by, not doing the things that keep us in the lower dimensional state, like being so intent on things that are, like, you're fearful of, like, don't take this from me, don't take this job, don't take this living place, don't take this land, like, no, goodness gracious, relax. Give everybody, including yourself, a break. That is just not, and to be angry all the time and focusing on groups of people or just people and getting mad at them about the way they are because it doesn't agree with you is, I don't know, crazy to me. Like, who cares? They're different. There's something else. If it bugs you that much, does it really take a scientist to explain that it's probably something inside of you that's, you're the one upset, they're living their life, they're fine. You're over here like, rah, rah. Why are you doing that? Is that fun? Does that feel good? Eventually you gotta get to a point where, I don't know what the other way looks like, except for, like, the result of it, the people getting all mad in silence or not in silence, but people unknown to me that just blow up and do stuff that injures people in some way. And so, I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of low vibrational. It's not fun, And then from that other perspective where you're not even really from here, that shit is the fun stuff. But again, the desired goal, as I understand it, is to come out of it smelling like a rose, basically. Like, don't take the low road and just step all over people to get. Why do you gotta do that just to get? Everybody needs. You don't need to get it all for yourself or your people. You don't need 5 versions of a thing you can only use at one time. You know, I mean, I just feel like we have, it's just like our practice, like as humans, is just become mostly like, I gotta get mine, get out of my way, you're trying to get what I want, even if that's just a hallucination or whatever of your acquisition fever. That's not like the highest goal. I know that's what we've been taught, but it really is not. Like, to me, if that's your highest goal, is to gain the most, more than everybody else, then it tells me that the real prize is to be as bitchin' with little. To feel as fucking awesome as that without all of the wealth and all of the trappings. To me, that's more impressive. Anyway, I just want to share that because I don't know if everyone is looking at these things the same way that I am. They might have, I don't know, I mean, like, I would love to know how other people are kind of like not having the whole, like I said in the piece I read, not having the whole fall off the emotional cliff, because I don't know, maybe after that whole experience we learned a thing or two. And finally, okay, thanks for reminding me, the last thing I wanted to say was when Cryon made that remark about both parties being so focused on fighting each other that not much is going to get done that the people actually want, it occurred to me that oh shoot, really? Come on, brain. And now I can't remember. Dang it, I hate it when that happens. Hopefully in the notes when I watch the playback I can add that in there. Dang. So close. I hate it when that happens. I'm loath to turn this thing off and be like, oh, now I remember. So I think what I was leading up to was taking life, not taking it personal, because the life with all the stuff where like it's so real, it feels so real. It's something that we jumped into that, you know, like once we pass, basically we're gonna jump out of it and go back to this whole other self, this whole other life that is like our real self and our real us. Oh, so I had the thought when Cryon had said that remark about the parties being too busy fighting with each other to pay attention to the people, that we might have to have another Trump presidency. And it wasn't the first time I thought it. And it's because I thought we're not learning the lessons. We're not learning to keep doing what we're doing is not going to get us forward. It's just going to get us deeper, more deeply mired in this social quicksand that we've brewed up for ourselves. Like, we've made quite a challenge, you know, but I think the real challenge is to break out of that old mold that we've had for, like I said, millennia, where it's, you know, solve your problem with a violence, you know, if you don't like what these people are doing and they're incalcitrant, eliminate them, or ruin their reputation so they can't go anywhere and do anything. Like, that's like our deal, and that is shitty. And like, no one wants to run afoul of that. And I know I don't want to be the loathsome person wielding that crap at people. I really would like to live and let live, Like, I would like to live in a world where it didn't make people happy to make other people miserable. Because what goes around comes around. I mean, eventually that's not going to still work for our loathsome individual. It ain't going to work for him anymore. So, okay, I believe that was all I had to say on the matter. Oh, no, it isn't. On that note, kind of, we could really not be so fearful of just helping each other. Like, we know when the other ones of us are in need. All we have to do is look or listen. It's not that hard, and a little bit goes a long way, I mean, changing like a whole society's worth of programming would be difficult and different, but I just saw like the dial of a safe, and to get that puppy open and get to the treasure, you're the safe cracker, and you just got your ears, so you just gotta listen. Click one click at a time. It's just gonna be the tiniest thing that's required of you that could lead to you getting to that treasure in the safe. Like, the tiniest intent to help and do good, or make someone happy, be of service, on the surface and through, all the way through. And to me, it seems really simple. It's like, it's as easy as just being nice to each other. Like, oh my God, pow, what a revelation. But I really believe that. So, but it is also something that I think we have to, like, think about doing. Like, I have been having to catch myself in so many ways, like my mind and my mouth. And it's like, that's a challenge, but it's a challenge that can be overcome. So I'm optimistic about that. And I think that depending on how we each deal with it, the upcoming presidency is going to be miserable or not. I mean, I think we have that much control. We can at least, decide, like, ooh, hearing about this, whatever I'm looking at or reading is making me feel yucky. Let me stop doing that. Like, that's a big deal just for you yourself. I don't know who already knows that or not. That's why I'm just saying the obvious. If it's not obvious, then congratulations. I don't know. Welcome. Okay, that's it. For real. Thank you and good night.